Now, today's agenda is to discuss about COVID-19 affection in the heart and post-COVID. What are the things that you see in the heart commonly? I think all of we have studied this COVID scenario uh, in detail. I think in last couple of years, the time since it has come, I would label this disease as a disease of rather social media than really a scientific disease, because most of the data that is available is only observational data. Very few trials are there which are conducted as a head-to-head trial comparison, or something has been done, and then you really know, yes, this is what is happening in a COVID disease. So most of the things which are derived are only observational data from either single center or multi-center. It may not be जस्ट लाईक एक खूपच रॉ असं म्हणतो असं नाही आहे, पण जास्त जेवढी काही इन्फॉर्मेशन आपल्याला मिळते ती सगळी जी आहे ती ऑब्झर्वेशनल स्टडीजमधून आलेली जास्त. इवन सो टुडे ऑल्सो वॉट एवर एव्हिडन्स वी हॅव or whatever I am going to present is also from observational studies. It is not head-to-head comparison of someone who doesn't have COVID and someone who has COVID, how he is behaving, or controlled studies are not there. I think other than vaccine, for vaccine there are some trials where there has been some data which shows yes, it is a strong scientific evidence-based data. So similarly, even the affection of heart in COVID also is observational data. Most of them it is observational data. I think all of we know that it began in Wuhan in 2019, and I feel the disease might have started even early 2019. We got to know it in the late 2019. The diagnosis has occurred little later, or as you go ahead with the more incidence of disease, more observations, and then what information we got from that, we got to know that it came in late 2019. Then pathophysiology, all of we know that this is a coronaviridae family. It is an envelope virus with non-segmented single-stranded RNA, and there is a nucleocapsid which is there, which can easily get dissolved with the fat soluble. So I think one of the best way to prevent it is to wash it away, usually with the detergents, where all these fats will get dissolved and you can get rid of this coronavirus. In fact, I have another thing, that's to say that the complications which occur or the problems which occur due to this are because of the two things. One is the outer cover antibodies, other is the inner core RNA which is there. Probably the late manifestations, जे उशिरा येणारे manifestation असतात, they may be related to the RNA inside. That's why thrombotic complications or antibody related complications to the nucleocapsid, they all occur later. Whereas the direct effect because of this antibodies, surface antibodies, is the affection of respiratory epithelium. So what you get is URTI, LRTI, pneumonia. These are all the complications which are seen, because I think it is not there in the literature. Even I have written, मी पण हे ICMR ला लिहिलेलं आहे हा, what observation I find. लिटरेचरमध्ये असं काही कुठे स्पेसिफिक डिस्कशन नाही याच्याबद्दल, पण what I feel I have mentioned that. So early findings may be related to those outer cover. That's why you get URTI and all these problems, respiratory system related issues earlier, and the inner core related issues may come up later. So I think when we treat, we can target both these systems separately. It will help you in another form also, that whenever you are doing a washing, how herd immunity can come up is when, if you are just dissolving the capsid outside, and RNA is there, if these remnants of RNA keep on coming in your body repeatedly, yes, you may develop immunity for the late complications passively. You understand? Virus is there all around. We are all getting infected day in and out. I think all of you know, especially आपल्यासाठी, कारण आपण सगळे काही प्रॉब्लेम झाला तर डॉक्टरांकडेच येणार आहेत. त्यामुळे प्रत्येक पेशंट हा पॉझिटिव्ह आहे समजूनच आपण ट्रीट करत असतो. त्यामुळे व्हायरस हा आपल्याकडे तर सारखा रोज येतच असतो. तरी देखील का सगळ्यांना काही सगळे त्रास होत नाहीत. आय थिंक वन ऑफ द कॉज कुड बी दिस ऑल्सो, दॅट येस पॅसिवली ऑल्सो when we sanitize or when we take care of ourselves, some kind of passive immunity also keeps on coming, and probably this passive immunity may be more for the late complications than the early. So that's why we may get cough cold frequently, but we may not get late complications. You understand? I think all of you agree, no? What is your observation also? I think तुम्ही लोक रोजच्या रोज आमच्यापेक्षा जास्त कोविड बघता. आम्हाला फक्त स्पेसिफिक कार्डियक पेशंट्स येतात आमच्याकडे, पण रोज कोविड बघणाऱ्यांना तर नक्कीच ह्याच्याबद्दल हा फरक जाणवायला लागेल की जसं कोविड जास्त पसरायला लागलाय किंवा जास्त कम्युनिटीत गेलाय, तसं रेस्पिरेटरी प्रॉब्लेम्स जास्त आहेत, पण बाकीचे प्रॉब्लेम हळूहळू कमी व्हायला लागले. सो आय थिंक दिस इज हाऊ द प्रोबॅबली इट मे बी बिहेविंग. हे कुठेही लिटरेचरमध्ये लिहिलेलं नाही, हे मी सांगितलं नाही. तर तुम्ही मला एव्हिडन्स विचारलं, देर इज नो एव्हिडन्स फॉर ऑल दिस थिंग्स, बट व्हॉट इज आवर ऑब्झर्वेशन, वी शुड कम टू सम कन्क्लुजन or some place, somewhere we should know what is exactly happening. So I have a feeling that this may be a cause for all these things. Even same way, what happens when you wear mask is also the same thing. When you wear mask, though if someone talks without mask with you, the droplets are going to be there on the mask outer surface. After some time, the outer covering is going to get dissolved, but RNA is going to remain over there. You understand? So this RNA may also give you passive immunity. Suppose this you take it in a smaller quantity, if you are getting all that. I don't know how much is true about it, but there is no data regarding all these things. हे पण लक्षात घ्या. So I think this is what the structure of COVID is. I am not going to go in details. I think सगळ्यांना हे माहिती आहे, कारण आता तोंडपाठ झालेला डायग्राम आहे की सेंटर RNA आहे आणि नंतर त्याला न्यूक्लिओकॅप्सिडाइज स्पाइक ग्लायकोप्रोटीन्स असतात विच गो अँड गेट अटॅच्ड अँड देन कॉज प्रॉब्लेम्स. नाउ एस्पेशली व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट हार्ट, हाउ इट अफेक्ट्स the cardiac involvement by the influenza group of virus is less than 0.1%. That means myocarditis or direct affection by influenza virus is very rare, whereas in COVID situation it is not that rare. So there are some studies from some centers where they have included about 700 to 1000 patients, where they have found the incidence to be ranging from 3% to in some cases 27%. That means काही सेंटर्स मध्ये फक्त 3% अफेक्शन मिळालं, तर काही ठिकाणी ते 27% पर्यंत अफेक्शन आहे. आणि युजली इट इज मच कॉमन विथ एल्डरली पेशंट्स, दोज हू हॅव कोमॉर्बिडिटीज and associated disease. So what clinical presentation this causes, again all of we know it causes pneumonia, ARDS, then with or without both distributive and cardiogenic shock in elderly population with pre-existing comorbidities, and more severe clinical presentations are likely still at risk of co-infections, and worst outcomes have been noted in these elderly patients. Now when we look at prevalence of cardiovascular, as I said, the hypertension is associated in 17.1%, cardiac involvement in 16.4%, and cerebrovascular disease, that means vascular system involvement, is about 9.7% patients. Now increased case fatality is seen in about, this is a large observational data of 44,000 patients. You can see cardiovascular disease in 10.5%, diabetes 7.3%, hypertension 6%. This is all established patient. That means if you have 100 hypertension patients, the fatality is about 6% who are COVID positive. If you have 100 diabetes patients, the fatality is 7.3%, associated cardiovascular disease. So that's why we should look at these cases more particularly than any other, just without any other affection that you have. Now how it affects the heart is by different mechanisms. It causes myocardial injury, myocarditis, and acute coronary syndrome. This is the commonest thing that we see. When you have myocardial injury, it is a direct affection of the myocytes that is seen with these viruses. I have one pathological slide to show how it affects. Just like any other inflammatory process that is there, it does cause inflammation, and mainly it causes a disarray of the myocardial fibers. That means it really destroys the troponins and really destroys the myocardial uh, fiber arrangements. That is what causes LV dysfunction in this patient. However, despite of this, you may not have troponin T which is very sky high. सी हाऊ यू एम आय झाला तर आपल्याला कसं ट्रोपोनिन टी खूप वाढलेलं दिसतं, अगदी 1000 किंवा या रेंजमध्ये. तसं मायोकार्डायटिस affected due to COVID may not have significantly high troponin T. So that is another feature that is being observed particularly with this. I think cardiac arrhythmias and cardiac arrest. One more. This cardiac arrhythmia is very important because it is related directly to the viral infection, secondary to other causes. Like suppose you have pulmonary hypertension due to thromboembolic effect. That is going to cause atrial dilatation, right atrial dilatation. Right atrial dilatation is going to lead to atrial fibrillation. In fact, I will just share you one case. I think I still remember 8th or 9th March 2019, when first time COVID was just lockdown च्या अगोदर 22 तारखेला लॉकडाऊन लागला आपल्याकडे बरोबर. त्याच्या we had one lady who came with atrial fibrillation to us and she was having hypoxia. The saturation was only something like 92 or so, not very symptomatic at rest, but yes, when she walked she was getting problem. So त्यावेळी काय कोविड तर माहीत नव्हतं आपल्याला, त्यामुळे मे बी हां असंच असेल काहीतरी असं आपण धरून चाललेलं. पण एट्रियल फिब्रिलेशन वॉज द प्रेझेंटिंग फीचर. And this lady, we had not given anything. I think she recovered on her own. She required O2 for 3 to 4 days, and then she was all right. So what was this diagnosis? This is an atypical infection was the diagnosis. Those days we'll write just atypical infection. We don't know what it is. So that could be COVID. Remember this. You understand? Because sometimes then arrhythmias can be just a presenting feature. Whenever you have pneumonia, some part of the lung is affected, automatically right heart वरती त्याचा लोड येणार आहे. पल्मनरी सर्क्युलेशन वरती लोड येणार आहे. पल्मनरी सर्क्युलेशनचा लोड सगळा राईट हार्ट वरती येतो. सो यू आर गोइंग टू हॅव राईट वेंट्रिक्युलर राईट एट्रियल एनलार्जमेंट. राईट एट्रियल एनलार्जमेंट क्लिनिकली आपल्याला कसं करणार? इट विल कॉज एट्रियल अरिथमियाज, एपीसीज येतील, एट्रियल फिब्रिलेशन होईल, एट्रियल फ्लटर होते पेशंटला. सो इट मे बी जस्ट अ प्रेझेंटिंग मॅनिफेस्टेशन समटाइम्स. यू अंडरस्टँड? My one of the doctor friend who actually that those days we were taking only chloroquine as a prophylactic tablet. So I think आपण डॉक्टर आहोत, आपल्याला नेहमी सवय असते पल्स मोजायचं, सगळं ठीक आहे की नाही बघायचं. He was also monitoring his pulse. So after taking chloroquine, probably sometime he just found that की हां काहीतरी ectopics येतात. So there were VPCs. Those VPCs were more. So he did Holter after 2 or 3 days because VPCs were increasing in frequency. So he found that the VPCs are very high in number. So cardiac MRI was done. So we found that yes, there is some edema in cardiac. I mean, MRI showed some left ventricular, interventricular septum showing some edematous changes over there. So we did a PET scan. It showed there is activity. Simultaneously, COVID swab was also done. I mean, this RT-PCR was also done. It came out to be positive. So this is a VPC secondary to myocardial involvement in this patient. Remember that. Okay, luckily he was on chloroquine, so he did not have progression of symptoms. He recovered out of it, but difficult to give chloroquine also because you know VPCs can cause sudden cardiac death. If you get a QT prolongation in this situation. He was a young 36 years. So he recovered on its own. Follow-up scan was done, I think after 6 weeks or 3 weeks. MRI showed that there is no edema at that time. It means the inflammation settles slowly on its own. Natural course of the disease. How it behaves naturally, I am just discussing regarding that. Small dose of amiodarone and good dose of beta blockers was given to him and he settled. After 6 weeks, VPCs also went down. So you can understand these are the VPCs coming from that area. The ECG was showing, yes, it is a septal origin. So how we are correlating this is COVID presenting as a VPCs. So these kind of patients need observation. Now, there is no, again, same observational studies. There is no data की किती लोकांना VPCs होतात आणि यातले किती लोक सडन कार्डियक डेथनी जाणार आहेत हे त्याच्याबद्दल हेड टू हेड काही डेटा नाही आहे. बट येस, दीज VPCs वी हॅव टू बी केअरफुल विथ ड्रग ॲडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. आपण काय औषधं देणार आहेत, क्यूटी प्रोलॉंग होणारे जास्त मेडिसिन द्यायचे नाहीत. सडन कार्डियक डेथ प्रिव्हेन्शन करण्याच्या दृष्टीने काय करायला लागेल, वेदर LV सिस्टॉलिक फंक्शन असेस करत राहायला लागणार कंटिन्युअसली. EF कमी होत नाही आहे ना, EF आहे तेवढाच राहतोय ना, कारण असं कुठलाही मार्कर दिसला विच इज गोइंग टू प्रोग्रेस दिस डिझीज, वी हॅव टू इंटरव्हीन. मग आपल्याला मध्ये त्याच्यात मग हाय डोस स्टिरॉइड्स देणं किंवा अजून काही इम्युनोमॉड्युलेटेड ड्रग्स देणं हे सगळं त्या पेशंटमध्ये येणार आहे. आणि सिक्विलीमध्ये ज्यावेळी सगळा आजार संपून जाणार आहे, 6 आठवडे ते 3 महिन्यानंतर, त्यावेळी हार्टचं फंक्शन कसं आहे, EF किती आहे आणि नंतर त्याच्यानंतर सडन कार्डियक डेथ, अचानक डेथ होणार आहे की नाही ह्याच्यासाठी मग होल्टर रेकॉर्डिंग असणं, VPCs किती येत आहेत 24 तास ते 24 तासाच्या रेकॉर्डिंगमध्ये हे बघणं, RONT होऊ शकतं का आणि ओव्हरऑल हार्ट रेट काय राहत आहेत, एक्सरसाइजनी हे VPCs वाढत आहेत का, हे सगळं ऑब्झर्व करायचं आणि अकॉर्डिंगली मग डिसिजन घेऊन त्यावेळी ICD सडन कार्डियक डेथ प्रिव्हेन्शनसाठी ICD घालायची की नाही हा डिसिजन व्हायला हवं. Another commonest problem that we have seen is bradyarrhythmia with these patients. So this direct affection of the muscles, cardiac muscle by this virus also leads to decrease in the heart rate. I think जसं डेंग्यूमध्ये आपण पाहिलेलं आहे, डेंग्यू मायोकार्डायटिस also leads to bradycardia. So many times I get reference and वाघ सरांचे बरेच पेशंट असतात, बघितलेत मी तसं की डेंग्यूमध्ये जस्ट आय गेट अ रेफरन्स फॉर ब्रॅडिकार्डिया इज देअर. सो it does cause reduction in the prolongation of the action potential in a sinus node. Now there is again same, there is even in dengue as well as even in this disease there is no data, there is no histopathological studies किंवा biological studies आपल्याला अजूनही माहित नाही आहेत की how it affects all these things, how it causes bradycardia is still not known, but it does cause prolongation of the action potential and bradycardia. Usually it is self-limiting, as till you have fever, patients tend to have bradycardia. You just support with the sinus node with something and it comes down a little. I have not put pacemaker for anyone because of this bradyarrhythmia so far, just because patient's rate has gone down. I have not required anyone to be. We had one patient, yes, who developed AV nodal disease and sinus node dysfunction, but probably it may be together. I mean, it may be just incidental finding. She was elderly, 60, 62, COVID positive, had one episode of syncope, and we found ECG showing bradycardia and complete heart block. Later on, the conduction returned also, but this may be incidental finding. There was no direct correlation. We had to put in a pacemaker for her because she was getting recurrent syncopes and arrest. Despite she being COVID positive, we had to go ahead with the pacemaker implantation. So in fact, swab positive आल्यानंतर आम्ही 3ऱ्या का 4थ्या दिवशीच पेशंटला सगळ्या प्रिकॉशन्स घेऊन पेसमेकर बसवलेला होता. त्याच्यानंतर other important thing that it can cause is cardiomyopathy and heart failure. So cardiomyopathy and heart failure is another, as I said, when direct affection of the heart is there, it does cause muscle necrosis, and less than 2 to 3% means suppose you find 100 patients of myocarditis due to COVID, of that also only 2 to 3% are going to develop this kind of LV dysfunction. Not everyone, so it is again rare. Directly causing LV dysfunction due to COVID is also rare. 100 patients when you see, you will find 1 or 2 or 3 patients getting cardiomyopathy and heart failure related to cardiomyopathy. But heart failure related to COVID infection due to something else is also high. It means what? Someone who has hypertension but EF normal है, अशा पेशंटला मात्र heart failure incidence जास्त है, to the tune of which we saw 10 to 20% of the patients. So they will have EF which is normal, they have a hypertension but they get COVID infection and they develop heart failure. In fact, some of the patients will come with the CT scan score with you and COVID negative. There is nothing. But clinically symptoms are all of heart failure. LVF सारखा पिक्चर है, झोपला की दम लागतो है. This is a false thing again. The CT scan report shows CT score high because of pulmonary edema, passive pulmonary. It is not because of the COVID in this situation. हे लक्षात घ्या. अशा सिच्युएशन मध्ये जो CT रिपोर्ट असतो तो कोविडमुळे नसतो पॉझिटिव्ह, तर तो पल्मनरी इडिमामुळे, बिकॉज पल्मनरी इडिमा फाइंडिंग्स and COVID findings, they nearly same on CT scan. There's nothing different. How you differentiate is give diuretics. Next day repeat CT scan. You will find there is nothing. The whole COVID score has become negative. Someone will report score of 14 and diuretics दिले, दुसऱ्या दिवशी स्कोर केला तुम्ही तर तो हार्डली 2 किंवा 3 असेल. It cannot vanish so fast. All of you know that this COVID infection doesn't vanish so fast also. So it is due to LVF in this situation. So, sorry? Ground glass opacity. It's just same water. Pulmonary edema मध्ये जे findings यायला लागतात ना, early pulmonary edema, same kind of findings are seen even with the COVID pneumonia also. But when you give diuretics, these findings will go off. Okay. So we have to be careful in this situation. Whenever you have RT-PCR which is negative, and still some radiologists usually सांगतात अरे वाटतंय मला अर्ली कोविड आहे, स्कोर वाढायला लागणार आहे, कदाचित जास्त केला, उद्या केला तर स्कॅन जास्त स्कोर येईल, असा ज्यावेळी पेशंट असतो आणि तुम्हाला पण क्लिनिकली वाटतं की हा नाही, हा इन्फेक्शनमुळे नसावं, कदाचित कार्डियक असणार, कारण ऑर्थोपनिया PND हे जास्त असतं अशा पेशंटला. द हिस्ट्री अँड सडन ऑनसेट असते. इट इज अ सडन ऑनसेट ब्रेथलेसनेस. कोविड इन्फेक्शन विल बी लिटल ग्रॅज्युअल. इट विल टेक अबाउट 2 to 3 days or 4-5 days, whereas this just suddenly occurs. आता आहे, थोड्या वेळाने सकाळी मी चांगलं होतो, संध्याकाळी मला अचानक दम लागायला लागला. ओके. सो आय थिंक दॅट सिच्युएशन यू हॅव टू डिफरन्शिएट बेस्ड ऑन युअर क्लिनिकल एक्सपिरियन्स एट दॅट टाइम. Hypoxia is there with both the things. No, in both situations you may have hypoxia. Even COVID gets hypoxia, and this patient also may be hypoxic. The pulmonary edema patient also. And cardiogenic and mixed shock. This is same again when you have LV dysfunction and or multi-system involvement. ARDS is there. Infection is fulminant. You have affection of liver, kidneys, GI system is also affected. That kind of patient is also vulnerable to have shock, usually secondary to increased inflammatory markers in the body, and they can have hypotension and so on. Then venous thromboembolic disease, all of you know this COVID is prone for hypercoagulable state, so it causes both DVT, pulmonary embolism, acute pulmonary embolism, and thrombosis anywhere else also. At the same time, thrombosis in arteries is also known. So some patients of MI who are COVID positive can be because of COVID itself, and the disease is very difficult to treat in some patients. I had एक patient आमच्याकडे होता. She came with acute interval MI, mid LAD सारखं, म्हणजे फार मोठा lesion असेल असं वाटत नव्हतं ECG पाहून. स्टेबल होता पेशंट, फक्त पेन आहे म्हणत होता. RT-PCR केली ॲज युजल, पामी करायची म्हणून, केम पॉझिटिव्ह. सो प्रायमरी अँजिओप्लास्टीला घेतलं, वायरिंग केलं, तो यू सी दॅट द थ्रॉम्बस हॅज डिझॉल्व ओव्हर देअर. बलून केलं आणि नंतर आता स्टेंट बसवायचा. मोमेंट यू डिसाइड टू स्टेंट दिस इज पेशंट, यू सी थ्रॉम्बस इज देअर इन द प्रॉक्सिमल LAD नाव. सो अगेन यू गिव्ह सम ड्रग्स, अँटीप्लेटलेट्स दिले, सगळं दिलं. थोड्या वेळाने बघतो तर थ्रॉम्बस आपल्याला सर्कमफ्लेक्समध्ये असतो. काही वेळाने बघतो तर आपण तो दुसरीकडे गेलेला. सो थ्रॉम्बस इज एक्सटेन्सिव्ह इन दिस पेशंट्स. यू रिमेंबर दिस. द थ्रॉम्बस विच इज रिलेटेड टू दिस कोविड इन्फेक्शन इज लिटल डिफरंट दॅन एनी अदर सिच्युएशन. इट इज लाईक एकीकडे ट्रीट करायला गेलं तर दुसरीकडे थ्रॉम्बस झाला, दुसरीकडे गेलं तर तिसरीकडे झाला. अशा प्रकारच्या थ्रॉम्बॉटिक डिझीज असतात. इवन पोस्ट कोविड वॅक्सिनेशन थ्रॉम्बस जे बघितलेले आहेत, इवन दे ऑल्सो बिहेव्स एक्झॅक्टली सिमिलर. मल्टिपल थ्रॉम्बॉटिक vessels are seen, multiple places you will see thrombosis being there. आणि मग अशा वेळेला हिपॅरिन जास्त द्यावं लागणार, अँटीप्लेटलेट जास्त द्यावं लागतात. ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर गोइंग टू बी देअर. जर काय लाईफ अँड डेथ सिच्युएशन असेल तर मग त्यावेळी आपल्याला स्टेंटिंग करणं आणि यू गेट रीड ऑफ, सेव्ह द पेशंट. बेसिकली यू हॅव टू सेव्ह पेशंट ॲट दॅट टाइम बाय सेव्हिंग मायोकार्डियम. हार्टला सेव्ह करणं महत्त्वाचं असतं अशा वेळी. सो when we are dealing with thrombosis in this situation, this is what the real problem that you face. Now, other complications which are seen are due to the drug therapy and interactions. That, as I said, when you take hydroxychloroquine, it causes QT prolongation. So, that is another problem. Then, those who are on statins, they also tend to have increased myopathy incidence. When you get COVID infection and high dose statins are going on to someone, patient may have significant myalgia, पाय दुखायला लागतात. If you do CPK levels in these patients, total CPK level, it is increased. It is in thousands some patients. In fact, I had a couple of patients where we had to stop the treatment with statins in this group of patients because myopathy is very significant. कधी पाहिलं नाही असं पेशंट अक्षरशः म्हणतो मला ॲडमिट करा, माझं पाय कसे थांबवून घ्या, कसे दुखतात मला माहिती नाही कारण we are really worried with the renal failure in this situation because when you have rise in CPK, when you have increased muscle metabolism, you can have increased creatinine, renal failure, acute renal shutdown. These are the main problems which we are because it is really reversible. In kidney damage which you get secondary to myopathy is really bad in certain situations. So we are more worried with the secondary complications of the disease in this situation. These are just charts how it affects the coronary. I think underlying comorbidities you have to keep in mind: hypertension, coronary artery disease, and diabetes mellitus. It can cause acute cardiac injury, myocarditis due to the direct infection, acute coronary syndrome, and heart failure. It can cause arrhythmias, QT prolongation, VT, VF, and atrial fibrillation. These are the common things that you see, and on long-term basis, it can cause thromboembolism. Another important initial controversial point was because this COVID infection is common, it shares these ACE receptors for entry into the body. So whether ACE inhibitors are bad in this, but there has been clear-cut observational data or clear-cut guidelines are there. You have to continue ACE inhibitors. They do not cause any problem or any increased susceptibility to ACE or ARBs in this group of patients. This is a histopathological side which shows, macrophages and activated due to the infection, and you can see how the right ventricular muscle necrosis is seen. So when you have direct myocarditis, myocardial injury secondary to COVID infection, this is from the COVID patient, the slide, which is presented in European Heart Journal. So I think these आत्ताशी कुठेतरी आता अशा slides आणि आता असे data मिळायला लागलेत which shows how COVID is really ruining some parts of our body. This is the MRI pictures showing how the COVID affects patients who are troponin positive. You can see 26% patient had inflammation, then 6% patients had dilatation, and prothrombotic states are seen in 22% of the patients. All these leads to the myocardial injury and increase in the troponin. This cardiac MRI is gold standard in such situation because if you find COVID patient with something positivity, heart related issue, always get a cardiac MRI done, PET scan done. दोन गोष्टी खूप महत्त्वाच्या आहेत अशा पेशंटला. कार्डियाक MRI वरती आपल्याला लिजन्स एक्झॅक्टली कुठे आहेत ते कळतात आणि पेट स्कॅन वरती इन्फ्लेमेशन आता आहे की नाही आहे, पेशंटला स्टिरॉइड्स द्यायचे की नाही द्यायचे हे डिफाईन होऊन जातं. कारण इफ यू गिव्ह स्टिरॉइड्स इन दॅट सिच्युएशन पेशंट्स विल सिग्निफिकंटली इम्प्रूव्ह, प्रोग्रेशन होत नाही बिलकुल एक डिजीजचं त्यावेळी. Then I think myocardial injury, this is a 8 studies pooled analysis of 3,000 patients have shown increased troponin, BNP and CPKMB. So you could see that the incidence is ranging from 7% to in some patients 80%. So I think these are the main things I have covered already in my talk, all other things. So any questions, I think you can ask me.